Hello everyone, welcome back to Building the Story podcast. I'm your host, Joey the Jag, and this is episode 3, 5 drafts, and how I came up with the AppleMan Wars title. So please leave a like on the video, follow, and subscribe for more as I continue my anime journey. This video is for those that struggle or are starting their story or in the middle or have a hard time finishing the story. And the purpose of these podcasts is to give those out there that struggle, or even veterans that are, good, but they're stuck. I hope my videos help you in pushing you to move forward in your art and your skills, because I think we all need to help one another in the artistic community. And when one person does something, another person does something, another person does something, it's good karma. And it helps everyone, right, work out in artistic pursuits. So I'm going to give you the 5 drafts that I went through in the pursuit of getting to the 6th draft, where I finally got to my main goal of finally doing the story that I love so much. So the first draft that I did in the beginning of the year was for a children's novel. And that was the initial idea. But the problem with that, when I got to the initial idea of doing the first novel as a children's book, I said, this will be good. I can use different story ideas that I have in mind in my folders and stuff, and use those stories for specific novels down the road. And this would have worked. But when I finished the story, I got to one point in the story, like the ending, like the climax of it, where I finally realized something. That I was writing the surface of the story. The surface of the story is basically just the story. Not characters, not the world, not the setting, nothing. Just the story itself, which is good on paper, like a good idea. But just because it's good on paper doesn't mean it will make for a good anything, like novel. That's when I put it away. I put it away for 4 weeks in a folder on my computer, and I even typed in "don't touch" for 4 weeks. When I didn't touch it for 4 weeks, I started thinking, was it good enough? Maybe not. Maybe it was. I don't know. Let me check in 4 weeks. So when I checked in 4 weeks and I pulled out that manuscript, that's where I was like, nah, this isn't good. It's not good. I need to do better. That's where I got to that point, and I said, you know what? I'm going to push the first draft down. It's not going to go anywhere. And I was looking at YouTube videos and tutorials on what to do after you're done making your first novel or your first draft. And every one of them said, no one's going to like it. You're not going to like it. It's going to be garbage. It's going to suck. And they were right. It did suck. Now, I'm not saying it was horrible, like no, but it was just surface level. There was no charm to it. There was no personality to it. There was nothing to latch on. It was like, if I'm going to pick a manga or a webcomic or watch an anime, it's got to pull me in the first episode, right? This wasn't pulling me in chapter 1. And then I have to read the whole thing. It was like a bore. It was a bore because there was no anything. There was no meat. It was just bone, right? There was no carne. And I was like, no, it's going to go. It's going to go away. So I put it in my draft folder, where I just put it on there just in case down the road after I finish the series, I can always go back and be like, this was what was going to be the first draft that never made it. And maybe down the road, they'll be like, oh, you should put this. This one was much better than the initial draft you ended up with. But I felt in my gut, it wasn't good. The second draft was on my way to get my hair cut and a beard trim. I thought, why not throw in comedy? That would be perfect. Dragon Ball did it with Dragon Ball Z as well with Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama is the creator of Dragon Ball. And he liked to throw in gags and puns and make humor in situations, even though there were intense shonen action battle fighting manga or anime. And I liked it. But when I was actually thinking, I can do that, I can't. No way can I be like Akira Toriyama. That dude's a legend. So I was getting there. My limits were my brain was just like steam was just flying out, just flowing out like crazy. And I was just hitting my head with my hand I'm trying to throw in puns. I'm trying to find gags and comedy stuff. I'm looking on Netflix for like different comedians to get inspiration, and I'm grabbing stuff. I'm like, hey, this will be funny if I throw that in there in my story and use that. And I was like, no. It's not original. It doesn't grab anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm not being serious. I'm being too funny. I'm being sarcastic in my own story. And you know, one thing is, it's not good to be sarcastic in something you're passionate about. You be sarcastic in things that someone tells you and you're like, that's funny. But you know, you're just doing it out of just being like humorous, right? If someone says something nasty to you or disgusting to you, you can just be sarcastic about it, right? It doesn't feel anything. But when you're passionate about it, can you imagine you're wearing like a nice outfit and you're like, dude, I look good. And you're sarcastic, like, dude, this sucks. This bow tie sucks, right? But you look good. Like, why would you say your bow tie sucks or your outfit sucks if you look good? That's not how you be sarcastic, right? So it doesn't work. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it away. Second draft, no good. It don't look good. So third draft. Third draft is where I was like, I got it. 7 kids, and their names are the Stompers. I was a fan of Digimon, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu Yu Hakusho, right? I like this story of these teenagers that had to go through fantastical things in order to become heroes. You know, Pokemon, Ash Ketchum, the biggest underdog in the world. I rooted for this guy to finally, this kid, 10 years old, right? This kid to finally become a Pokemon master. And then when he finally did, after 30 seasons of the anime series, he finally became a Pokemon champion. And I was so proud of him. The proudest person in the world for this character that was an underdog. But here's the thing. I was not George R.R. Martin. See, I was stuck in limbo. I love Game of Thrones, right? I love Invincible. I love The Walking Dead. Things that I like. I was writing fan fiction. It's okay to write fan fiction. There's nothing wrong with that. But I wasn't writing a story. I was grabbing stuff that worked for somebody else and tried to implement those things in my writing. And I was like, no, it's not going to work. So I was like, I'm writing too many multiple characters for my first ever graphic novel debut. And I know nothing about multiple characters. To write multiple characters would take forever. I'll never make the anime series in that way. So again, the third draft, I put it away. Now, the next draft, the fourth draft, that's where I realized that I can turn the novel into a graphic novel. Now, the difference between a novel and a graphic novel is that the novel is based on words. It is artistic wordplay, if you want to call it that, where people read the book from beginning, middle, and end, and it's a novel. A graphic novel is words and illustrations. It's drawings in the form of a novel. It's like a comic book, but it's more in line with a book. Instead of a comic book, which is like an issue of 16 pages, a graphic novel is probably like 12 chapters or maybe 15 chapters, and it's basically thick. Not that thick, but it's pretty thick. It's like thick, right? I like them thick. I like thickums. Right? Now, when I did the fourth draft, and I wanted to turn it into a graphic novel, in the early process of doing the fourth draft, that's where I put a pause to it. It was like a red sign going, and even though it was green light, there was a stop sign on the corner, and I hit the brakes. I was like, hold on, let me look both ways, let the car go, and then I let it go. And I realized, you know what? Instead of writing a graphic novel, because I'm trying to write an anime or do an anime series, I'm never going to make the anime series if I do a graphic novel because it's the same pace as the novel. I said, instead, why don't you write and draw a chapter? Drop a chapter on Instagram, TikTok, on webcomics, webtoons, whatever comic sites are, so people can see your story come to life. That's when it hit me. I'm going to do just that. That will make more sense because I can do chapter by chapter by chapter and drop it and do 5 chapters, drop that, take my time, work on the next 5 chapters, drop those 5 chapters, take my time, do the next 5 chapters. That way I don't have to streamroll it unless I get an editor down the road. If I get an editor down the road and that editor is like, your book's doing good, try and do chapter by chapter weekly, then that'll be different because, that's my editor. And if that editor is pretty cool and is paying me, why not? Let's do it, right? If they want me to do weekly chapters and it's weekly chapter right now, I can take my time. I can enjoy the space and the pressure is not too crunched, right? Now, when I write book 1 or book 2 or book 3, then the pressure is going to be on me because then people are going to want to be like, when's the next book coming out? Or they might be attached to a character and they're going to be like, when's this character going to come out? Oh, you're taking forever, right? You're being Berserk, the author of Berserk, who took forever to write it, but he was dealing with things, personal things on the side. So I can't, he's a legend himself, the detail and the amazing art that man did, like brilliant. If you've never seen Berserk, it's not for everyone. It's adult stuff. So be warned. It's for adults. It's basically what it is. But Berserk is a great story. Just not for everyone. It isn't. Trust me. Don't read it if you don't like horror stuff or scary stuff. It's not for you. But Berserk is so detailed. It's just like Vagabond, which is another great detailed story. And if you want more detailed, Bleach is great too. Not the bleach where you wash your clothes, your white clothes, but Bleach as in the character, the story Bleach. Okay? Now that I have that out of the way, I want to be able to just let it all be known that on the 6th draft, when I was writing the mid part of my story, I fell in love with it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be honest. I fell in love with this story. And the story I was making in the 5th draft, there was no main character. So I was trying to grab which character of the 7 characters will be the main character. And then I said to myself, I'm going to scrap it. I'm going to completely scrap it and I'm going to focus on one character. Have this character be the focal point, and then through other characters, they will reveal their stories along the way. Instead of this character, this character, this character, this character. Instead, it's just one character, and this character moves the story forward. And I think that just worked so much better. I got so good. My heart felt good. My mind felt good. My soul felt good. It just, when you're doing good when you feel it. It's a feeling, a sensation you cannot get anywhere else. It's like an endorphin. It's like exhilarating. It's like pleasure. But the pleasure you get is this self-pleasure of this chemical in your heart, in your entire body, that you feel so good about something. That's what I'm talking about. If you've ever felt that feeling, this is what that is. And so when I wrote the midpoint of the story, I said, I got the title. I got the title of my anime series. I got the title of my series overall, The AppleMan Wars. Now, that name might be weird, like AppleMan Wars. What is that? But I assure you, The AppleMan Wars is going to be one of the coolest stories I've ever written, drawn, or seen anywhere because it's different. And why it's different is that it borrows one important element that has been missing for quite a long time, because webcomics, manga have been doing this thing where everyone is trying to create manga. Everyone is trying to create their own terms of what manga is for Western audiences. So I said to myself, I'm not Japanese. I am American. So I'm going to write a story as an American through the lens of creating a story in the real world aesthetic. So what I mean by the real world aesthetic is that the story that's being played out exists in the real world, like now, where instead of the past or the future, it represents now. So when the first book comes out, or there's 9 books, there's going to be 9 volumes, 9 books in the series. So when all 9 books come out, right, it doesn't matter, like there's not a specific time or date in the story. It's a limitless story. It's basically a story that has no time. There's no like this happened in 1996. Right? There's nothing like that. It just happens now. And I like that. It's happening now in a state of what it is now, how it is now. So I grab things from the past, things from the present, things that can happen in the future, and I used a sort of simulator type video game mechanic in what is known as Dungeons and Dragons. And I use the Dungeons and Dragons play style, campaign style, to create this story that, even though I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I used the methods of character development, the adventure, the campaign, and I wrapped it up together, blending a main character that goes from this world into a fantastic world. So it blurs the lines. And so the AppleMan Wars represents what is happening in the human world versus AI. So it's a human versus AI type of story. And that's where it hit me. The AppleMan Wars. And that is how I came up with the title, The AppleMan Wars. So that's really how it happened. And it took a while to get to that point of calling it The AppleMan Wars, The Nightmare Beast Saga, Book 1, Dawn of the Gargoyle. Now that might be a lot of spoons to swallow, but there's honey on the spoon. There's sugar on the spoon. So when you eat the spoon, when you eat the sugar in the spoon, or the honey on the spoon, the sugar on the spoon, what happens is you get a taste of that sweetness, and that sweetness is love, and that love is passion, and that passion is forever. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The AppleMan Wars is being written right now. This is it, the final draft. I'm not going to write any more drafts. This is it. I feel good about it. I'm excited to create it. So when I'm done with the writing process and I'm starting to draw, I'll let you know. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your awesome support. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.